Dress codes have been around for years. They give students a guide as to what is or is not okay to wear when at school. More recently, students have begun to voice their problem with the dress codes that they face every day at school, and they feel that they are unfair and biased. But the solution to this might not be lesser rules, but increased ones. School uniforms from the outside seem stiff and repetitive, but when looked at closer have some benefits. These include a neutral view and safety in schools. Schools should consider uniforms when looking to revise their dress code. Dress code can cause a lot of insecurities within the student body. Distracting clothing is not to be worn as to not disrupt the learning curve. These are typically clothes worn by females, tank tops with very small straps, crop top, aka anything really showing the shoulders or the midriff. And undergarments as well must be covered, pushing to just make sure that every part of the student is really just covered up. And students really do feel embarrassed to be disciplined over their expression. They typically get called out in front of the class for what is wrong with their outfit. They either have to go home or have a parent bring them clothes before they are allowed to go back to class. This just allows them to face humiliation and embarrassment being in front of their peers. Dress codes are seen to be more lax than mandated uniforms, but having everyone in the same clothes does have some benefits. School uniforms can help safety and peer pressure. That safety can include violence and gang insignias, like preventing certain colors or patterns to be worn, as well as any other accessories that might go with that. It also includes identification. Students can be easily identified as belonging to the school, and anyone who does not belong to the school will stick out like a sore thumb, which does help in terms of safety. Peer pressure. Peer pressure is absent in the case of a uniform. Everyone else wears the same thing as you, so it doesn't really matter. It doesn't create pressure on the parent or the student to go out and spend money on a lot of clothing that they know that their child is going to take to school, possibly get ruined and stuff like that. And also, uniforms are content and viewpoint neutral. And now what that means that it doesn't say no to any particular group. It just says no to all of them. This does prevent legal trouble when talking about legal battles that the Supreme Court and the U.S. Department of Education have gotten into. But by saying no to everyone and creating a strict guideline of what the students are and are not to wear, it does help to just say no to all of them. And while uniforms do have their benefits, one of the most glaring issues with them is freedom of expression. Students aren't allowed to express themselves through clothing or accessories when uniforms are implemented. Self-positivity is so important to establish early as a growing adolescent. Students may feel less of an individual in a uniform, as being just another one in the crowd. They might not have as much bullying in the school, but that student may not feel as they're an individual, just one in the crowd. Uniforms are typically clothes that cover a larger portion of the body than what students may choose to wear on their own. And that can definitely push the student to feel like they need to cover up. And that is the only reason for their dress code. The students may feel just generally uncomfortable in their uniform clothes, whether physically or emotionally. Physically, whether they don't like the way their body feels or their body looks. Emotionally, if, again, they just feel like they're just one in the crowd. Every student is the same, again, leading to no individuality. Expressions allowed students to become who they want to be. And middle and high school is a large time for adolescents to be able to do that and have a lot of growth into becoming an individual. Overall, uniforms have both pros and cons when implemented in schools. On one hand, students are easily identifiable, but on the other, it limits that freedom of expression and sense of self. When looking at dress codes, changes need to be made to fight biased opinions without completely removing students' expression and allowing them to make sure they grow into great individuals.